Most people believe that power comes from speaking louder, explaining more, proving their point, or reacting faster than everyone else. From an early age, we are conditioned to think that if we stay silent, we lose. That if we don't defend ourselves, justify our choices, or respond immediately, we appear weak, insecure, or defeated. But the Stoics saw silence very differently. To them, silence was not absence. Silence was control. Silence was discipline. Silence was the clearest signal that a person had mastered themselves. In a world that constantly demands your reaction, your opinion, your outrage, and your explanations, the ability to remain silent is no longer passive. It is active resistance. It is the refusal to give your energy away to things that do not deserve it. Every argument you enter, every justification you offer, every emotional reaction you display hands a piece of your inner stability to someone else. Silence, on the other hand, keeps that stability where it belongs, inside you. The Stoics understood something that most people never realize. Not every situation requires a response, and not every provocation deserves an answer. In fact, many conflicts only exist because someone felt the need to speak when silence would have ended the matter immediately. Words can inflame, escalate, and expose. Silence disarms. Silence unsettles. Silence reveals who is acting from impulse and who is acting from strength. Think about how often people speak not because they need to, but because they feel uncomfortable with quiet. Silence forces reflection. It removes distractions. It makes intentions visible. When you remain silent, others project their insecurities onto the space you leave behind. They talk more. They reveal more. They lose composure. Meanwhile, you observe. You remain grounded. You see clearly. Stoicism teaches that your greatest asset is not what you say, but what you can endure without reacting. Emotional discipline begins where impulsive speech ends. The moment you feel the urge to explain yourself, to defend your image, or to correct how others perceive you is often the exact moment silence would protect your peace. Because once you start explaining, you have already accepted a false premise, that you owe others access to your inner world. Silence is not avoidance. It is selection. It is choosing where your energy goes. It is understanding that your time, attention, and emotional bandwidth are finite resources. The Stoic does not waste them trying to convince, impress, or control others. Instead, they focus on the only domain they truly command: their own mind. There is a quiet confidence that emerges when you stop filling every space with words. People feel it. They sense it. Silence creates gravity. It communicates self-respect without saying a single sentence. It tells the world that you are not moved by noise, pressure, or the need for validation. You act when action is required. You speak when words serve a purpose. And when they don't, you remain still. This is why silence has always been feared. Loud people fear it because it exposes their instability. Manipulative people fear it because it removes their leverage. Insecure people fear it because it reflects their dependence on approval. But the Stoic embraces silence because they know that strength does not announce itself. It does not argue. It does not chase understanding. It simply stands firm. And this is where the transformation begins. When you stop reacting to everything, you start seeing everything more clearly. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim authority over your own life. When you stop speaking out of emotion, you begin acting out of principle. Silence becomes the space where wisdom grows, where discipline sharpens, and where true power takes root. Silence becomes truly powerful when you understand what it protects you from. Most people don't lose energy because of hard work or external pressure. They lose energy through unnecessary reactions. They exhaust themselves responding to opinions, defending decisions that need no defense, and engaging in conversations that were never meant to bring clarity. The Stoic sees this drain early and steps back before it happens. Every reaction trains your mind. If you react impulsively, you reinforce impulsiveness. If you speak every time you feel uncomfortable, you train yourself to escape discomfort through words. Silence interrupts this pattern. It creates a pause between stimulus and response, the exact space where discipline is built. In that pause, you regain choice. You stop being predictable. You stop being easily manipulated. The Stoics were not silent because they were afraid of confrontation. They were silent because they understood the cost of speaking. Words have consequences. Once spoken, they cannot be retrieved. They create commitments, expectations, and emotional entanglements. Silence, on the other hand, keeps you light. It allows you to move without dragging unnecessary baggage behind you. There is also a deeper layer to silence that most people overlook. It reveals intent. When you stop filling the air with explanations, people are forced to reveal why they are speaking. Are they seeking control, validation, conflict, attention? Silence exposes these motives quickly. The person who talks too much often does so because they need something from you. By remaining silent, you deny them that leverage. This is why silence feels uncomfortable at first. Your mind has been trained to believe that being quiet means losing ground. But in reality, silence shifts the ground entirely. It removes you from emotional tug-of-war. It prevents others from steering your behavior through provocation. You are no longer reacting to their tempo. You set your own. Stoic silence is not coldness. It is clarity. It is the ability to observe without immediately labeling, judging, or responding. When you remain silent, you give yourself time to see the situation as it is, not as your emotions initially present it. Anger, pride, fear, and insecurity distort perception. Silence dissolves that distortion. Consider how many regrets are born from words spoken too quickly. Arguments escalated, relationships damaged, reputations weakened, all because someone felt the need to say something in the heat of the moment. The Stoic avoids this not through suppression, but through restraint. They do not deny emotion. They simply refuse to let emotion dictate their speech. Silence also strengthens your internal authority. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop negotiating your identity with the world. You stop outsourcing your self-worth to external approval. This creates a subtle but profound shift. You begin acting from internal standards instead of external reactions. Your decisions become quieter, but firmer. Less visible, but more consistent. Over time, this changes how others perceive you. People may not always understand you, but they will feel your presence differently. Silence commands respect because it signals self-control. It tells others that you are not desperate to be seen, heard, or validated. You know who you are. And that certainty does not need translation. This is why silence is one of the hardest disciplines to master. It requires confidence without display, strength without performance, and patience without reassurance. But once developed, it becomes a shield, a filter, a way of moving through the world without being constantly pulled off center. And as this discipline grows, something unexpected happens. You start speaking less, but when you do speak, your words carry weight. People listen, not because you demand attention, but because silence has taught you when speech actually matters. If this reflection is already shifting how you see your own reactions, take a moment to support the channel. Like this video so this message reaches more people who are tired of wasting energy on unnecessary battles. Subscribe if you want to keep strengthening your discipline, clarity, and inner control through Stoic wisdom. And comment below. In what situation do you feel the strongest urge to explain yourself when silence might actually protect you? Silence becomes a weapon when you stop using it defensively and start using it deliberately. Most people are silent only when they feel defeated, intimidated, or unsure. The Stoic is silent by choice. That difference changes everything. Chosen silence communicates confidence. It says, I am not threatened. I am not rushed. I am not seeking approval. In social situations, silence instantly shifts power dynamics. The person who speaks the least often controls the frame. They listen more. They gather information. They respond instead of react. While others reveal their intentions through words, the silent observer sees patterns, inconsistencies, and emotional triggers. This is not manipulation. It is awareness. The Stoics warned against becoming emotionally transparent to the wrong audience. Every word you share exposes a piece of your inner state. Your doubts, your plans, your fears. Once spoken, they can be misunderstood, judged, or used against you. Silence protects what is still forming. It allows your intentions to mature without interference. Many people sabotage themselves by speaking too early. They announce goals before they are built. They explain decisions before they are executed. They defend boundaries before they are enforced. Silence reverses this. You move quietly. You act consistently. You let results speak. And results are far louder than explanations. Silence also disrupts manipulation. When someone provokes you, they are often fishing for a reaction. Anger, justification, emotional engagement. Any response gives them what they want. Silence starves that dynamic. It removes fuel. The manipulator grows impatient. Their tactics become obvious. Your calm becomes unshakable. This is especially true in conflict. The Stoic understands that not every conflict is meant to be won through words. Some are meant to dissolve through non-participation. When you refuse to argue, you refuse to validate chaos. When you stay silent, you deny others the satisfaction of control. This does not mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you choose your response with precision. Silence trains emotional dominance. It teaches you to sit with discomfort without escaping it through speech. That ability carries into every area of life. Pressure loses its grip. Insults lose their sting. Expectations lose their urgency. You are no longer governed by external noise. Over time, people adjust to your silence. Some will respect it. Some will feel uneasy around it. A few will try harder to provoke you. This is natural. Silence exposes dependency. Those who rely on emotional reactions for validation feel threatened when they cannot extract one from you. The Stoic does not fear this discomfort. They understand that peace is not found in constant harmony, but in internal alignment. Silence is how that alignment is protected. It is how you remain anchored when others drift. And slowly, something remarkable happens. Your silence becomes associated with strength. People hesitate before crossing your boundaries. They listen when you finally speak. They sense that your words are measured, not impulsive. Scarce, not scattered. This is the strategic edge of silence. It is not about withdrawal. It is about control. It is about knowing that the strongest move is often the one you don't make. The sentence you don't say, the argument you don't enter, the explanation you don't owe. Silence, used consciously, turns your presence into authority. And authority does not announce itself. It is felt. Silence becomes essential the moment you realize how much of your suffering comes from other people's opinions. Criticism, whether fair or unfair, only gains power when you engage with it emotionally. The Stoic understands that most judgments are not reflections of truth, but projections of insecurity, fear, or personal frustration. Silence prevents those projections from taking root inside you. When someone criticizes you, your first impulse may be to defend yourself, to explain your intentions, or to correct their misunderstanding. But the Stoic pauses. Not because they are uncertain, but because they know something crucial. Explanations rarely change minds that are already decided. Silence, on the other hand, preserves dignity. It prevents you from lowering yourself into unnecessary justification. There is a quiet strength in letting others be wrong about you. Many people exhaust themselves trying to manage their image, constantly adjusting behavior to match expectations that keep shifting. The Stoic refuses this game. They understand that reputation is external, unstable, and ultimately uncontrollable. Character, however, is internal and steady. Silence protects that distinction. Rejection works the same way. When someone pulls away, ignores you, or withholds validation, the urge to ask why can feel overwhelming. But chasing answers often deepens the wound. Silence allows rejection to pass without turning it into self-doubt. It creates space between what others choose and what you believe about yourself. Stoicism teaches that you cannot control how others perceive you, but you can control how much access they have to your inner state. Silence limits that access. It prevents careless words from becoming emotional leaks. It keeps your confidence intact while others attempt to destabilize it. This is why silence is often misinterpreted. People may assume you don't care, that you are distant, or that you are emotionally cold. But the Stoic knows the truth. Silence is not indifference. It is composure. It is the refusal to let external judgment dictate internal balance. Judgment loses its sting when you stop feeding it with attention. Every response gives it relevance. Every explanation gives it weight. Silence starves it. Over time, criticism fades when it no longer produces a reaction. The world moves on faster than most people realize. Silence also protects you from internalizing negativity. Words spoken by others can echo in your mind long after the moment has passed. By remaining silent, you reduce the emotional charge attached to those words. You acknowledge their existence without absorbing their energy. The Stoic approach is simple but demanding. Accept what is said without immediately responding, examine it privately, keep what is useful, and discard the rest. Silence creates the space for this evaluation. Without silence, you react before you reflect. There is also freedom in not needing to be understood. Many people crave understanding because they tie it to acceptance. The Stoic separates the two. They understand that being misunderstood is often the price of staying true to one's principles. Silence makes this possible. As this discipline strengthens, you begin to feel lighter, less reactive, less dependent on external validation. The opinions of others no longer dictate your emotional climate. You remain steady whether praised or criticized. This is the emotional armor of silence. It does not block reality. It filters it. It allows you to move through judgment, rejection, and misunderstanding without losing alignment with yourself. And once this armor is in place, silence no longer feels like restraint. It feels like freedom. Silence changes the way people treat you the moment you stop using words to negotiate your boundaries. Many relationships become exhausting not because of conflict, but because of over-explanation. People explain why they need space, why something hurt them, why they cannot accept certain behavior, as if their limits require approval. The Stoic understands that true boundaries do not need constant explanation. They need consistency. When you are silent about your standards, but firm in your actions, something shifts. People quickly learn what is acceptable and what is not. Silence removes debate. It removes loopholes. It removes emotional bargaining. You are no longer asking to be respected. You are demonstrating self-respect. In unhealthy dynamics, silence is often the first act of reclaiming power. When someone is used to your emotional availability, your explanations, your immediate responses, your silence disrupts their expectations. They may feel confused. They may push harder. This is where many people break their discipline. The Stoic holds it. Silence also reveals who values you and who values access to you. Those who respect your boundaries will adjust without needing constant reassurance. Those who rely on control, attention, or emotional reactions will become frustrated. Silence makes this difference unmistakable. In relationships, words can sometimes delay the truth. People say they understand, they promise to change, they apologize, yet behavior remains the same. The Stoic pays attention to actions, not language. Silence sharpens this perception. When you stop filling gaps with hope or interpretation, reality becomes clear. There is a particular strength in not chasing closure. Many people remain emotionally attached because they need final explanations, last conversations, or perfect understanding. Silence allows you to walk away without dragging the past behind you. Not every chapter needs a conclusion spoken out loud. Stoicism teaches that attachment grows where attention is fed. Silence starves unhealthy attachment. It weakens emotional dependence. It creates space for self-respect to return. This does not mean becoming cold or distant. It means choosing presence where it is reciprocated. Silence also prevents emotional overinvestment. When you speak less, you reveal less. You protect your inner world from premature exposure. This is especially important in early connections, where vulnerability shared too quickly can be misunderstood or misused. Silence allows trust to develop at a natural pace. As you practice silence in relationships, your energy stabilizes. You stop overthinking messages, reactions, and unspoken expectations. You respond instead of anticipate. You remain grounded instead of anxious. This inner calm becomes noticeable. People begin to sense that you are no longer easily pulled into emotional turbulence. Your silence communicates that you are selective, not unavailable, present, but not desperate, open, but not unguarded. This changes the quality of your connections. You attract interactions based on mutual respect rather than emotional urgency. You stop trying to convince others of your value. You let your consistency speak for you. Silence, in this way, becomes an expression of self-worth. It is not about withdrawing from the world, but about engaging with it on your own terms. You choose when to speak, when to listen, and when to walk away, without explanation. And once you experience relationships built on this foundation, it becomes difficult to return to the noise. Silence is where real growth happens, because growth requires attention, and attention cannot survive constant noise. Most people think progress comes from doing more, saying more, engaging more. The Stoic understands that progress begins with subtraction. Fewer reactions, fewer explanations, fewer distractions. Silence clears the mental space where discipline can actually take root. When you remove unnecessary speech, your mind becomes quieter, but also sharper. Thoughts slow down. Patterns become visible. You begin to notice impulses before they turn into actions. This awareness is the foundation of self-mastery. Without silence, the mind jumps endlessly from stimulus to stimulus, never settling long enough to build strength. Stoicism places great value on inner dialogue. The conversations you have with yourself shape your behavior far more than any conversation you have with others. Silence reduces external input so you can hear that internal voice clearly. And once you hear it, you can train it. You can challenge it. You can discipline it. This is why silence often feels uncomfortable at first. It removes escape routes. Without constant talking, scrolling, or reacting, you are left alone with your thoughts. Many people avoid silence because it exposes unresolved fears, doubts, and insecurities. The Stoic does not run from this exposure. They use it as training. In silence, excuses lose their power. You can no longer hide behind noise. You see where you lack discipline. You see where you avoid responsibility. You see where you seek comfort instead of growth. This clarity is not pleasant, but it is necessary. Growth is not built on comfort. It is built on honesty. Silence also strengthens focus. When you speak less, you think less about being seen and more about being effective. Your energy is no longer scattered across explanations and reactions. It is directed toward execution. Quiet consistency replaces visible effort. Progress becomes internal before it becomes external. The Stoic understands that the strongest people are not those who announce their discipline, but those who practice it quietly every day. Silence removes performance from growth. You are no longer improving to be noticed. You are improving because it aligns with your principles. This internal shift is powerful. When validation is removed, motivation becomes purer. You train, work, study, and improve without needing applause. This creates resilience. When results are delayed or recognition is absent, you remain steady. Silence has already taught you how to stand alone. There is also a deep peace that emerges from silent discipline. Your mind stops racing to prove, defend, or explain. It settles into purpose. You become less reactive to external chaos because your internal structure is strong. Noise no longer dictates your pace. Over time, silence becomes a habit rather than an effort. You no longer feel the urge to comment on everything or respond immediately. You allow thoughts to pass without attachment. You act deliberately instead of impulsively. This is mental maturity. The Stoic path is not loud. It is not rushed. It is not reactive. It is built through quiet repetition, silent correction, and constant self-observation. Silence is the environment where this path becomes walkable. And as this discipline deepens, you begin to realize something profound. The more silent you become, the less control the world has over you. At a certain point, silence stops being something you practice and becomes something you are. It is no longer a tactic you remember to apply. It becomes your default state. You no longer feel the need to comment, explain, defend, or react unless it truly serves a purpose. This is where silence turns into identity. People often mistake authority for dominance, volume, or assertiveness. The Stoic understands authority differently. True authority comes from inner alignment, from knowing who you are, what you tolerate, and what you will not compromise. Silence reinforces this alignment because it removes the constant negotiation between your inner values and external pressure. When silence becomes part of your identity, your presence changes. You enter rooms differently. You listen more than you speak. You observe before you engage. This creates a subtle gravity. Others sense that you are not seeking approval or validation. You are not performing. You are grounded. This presence cannot be faked. It is built over time through restraint, self-discipline, and consistency. Silence exposes those who are uncomfortable with themselves. They rush to fill space. They overshare. They seek reactions. Your calm becomes a mirror that reflects their inner noise. The Stoic does not use silence to intimidate or dominate. They use it to remain centered. But paradoxically, this centeredness often commands respect. People trust those who are not easily shaken. They listen to those who speak with intention rather than impulse. Silence also prepares you for moments that truly matter. When you are not constantly speaking, your words gain weight. When you finally choose to speak, it is clear that it is intentional. This makes your voice credible. People sense that you do not waste words, so they pay attention when you use them. There is also freedom in being misunderstood without anxiety. When silence is part of your identity, you no longer chase clarity at the cost of peace. You accept that not everyone will understand your choices, your pace, or your values. And you are at peace with that. This is a turning point for many people. It marks the transition from reactive living to deliberate living. You stop being pulled by every opinion, every expectation, every emotional demand. You move according to your principles, not external noise. Silence becomes a form of self-respect. You do not explain yourself to those who have not earned access. You do not argue with those committed to misunderstanding you. You do not react to provoke validation. You conserve your energy for what truly matters. At this stage, silence no longer feels like restraint. It feels like sovereignty. You own your responses. You own your time. You own your emotional state. The world may remain loud, chaotic, and demanding, but it no longer lives inside you. This is the quiet confidence the Stoics spoke of. Not arrogance, not indifference, but calm authority rooted in self-mastery. A mind that does not need to announce its strength because it knows it is strong. And from this place, silence is no longer a shield or a weapon. It is simply the natural expression of someone who has learned to govern themselves. Silence, when fully understood, is not about withdrawing from life. It is about engaging with life from a position of strength rather than reaction. The Stoics never preached isolation or passivity. They taught discernment, knowing when to act, when to speak, and when to remain still. Silence is what makes that discernment possible. When you remove unnecessary words, you remove unnecessary conflict. When you remove unnecessary reactions, you remove unnecessary suffering. Much of what drains people is not life itself, but their constant commentary about it. Silence simplifies existence. It strips life down to what is essential. The world will continue to provoke, demand, criticize, and distract. That will not change. What can change is your relationship with that noise. Silence places distance between stimulus and emotion. In that distance, you regain freedom. You are no longer controlled by every opinion, every expectation, every emotional hook. Stoicism teaches that peace is not found by controlling others or shaping external outcomes. It is found by governing the self. Silence is one of the most direct ways to practice this governance. It reinforces patience. It strengthens judgment. It trains emotional restraint. As silence becomes habitual, your life becomes clearer. Decisions feel simpler. Relationships become more honest. Your energy is no longer scattered across endless explanations and emotional reactions. It is focused, intentional, and reserved for what aligns with your values. You begin to trust yourself more. You rely less on external validation and more on internal standards. This trust becomes the foundation of confidence. Not loud confidence. Quiet confidence. The kind that does not need recognition to exist. Silence also sharpens your sense of timing. You stop forcing outcomes. You stop rushing conversations. You stop trying to control how others perceive you. You move when the moment is right, and you let things unfold without interference when they are not. In this way, silence is not emptiness. It is space. Space to think. Space to choose. Space to grow. Space to act with clarity instead of emotion. It is in this space that wisdom matures. The Stoics understood that a person who can remain silent in the face of provocation is not weak, they are trained. A person who does not rush to explain themselves is not insecure, they are grounded. A person who does not react to every stimulus is not indifferent, they are free. And freedom, to the Stoic, is the highest form of power. If this message helped you see silence differently, support the channel by liking this video so it reaches more people seeking mental strength and clarity. Subscribe to continue building discipline, emotional control, and inner resilience through Stoic wisdom. And comment below. In which area of your life do you feel called to practice silence more consciously from now on? Your reflection may help someone else take their first step towards self-mastery.